Well, folks, here we again for the weekly forecast. During this last week, of course, we've seen several complexes of precipitation move across the state. The first of the series of moisture events occurred during the Sunday through Monday time frame, where we've seen thunderstorms develop across to western Nebraska, congeal and move into eastern Nebraska, and drop some very significant precipitation across the Salt River Valley and the lower Big Blue. Once again, renewing flooding as rivers came out of their banks, flooding lowland areas, and of course we've seen quite a few roads that were washed out in this region. And then we've seen a series of storms move on a daily basis from the western high plains southeastward through the western two-thirds of the state, dropping anywhere from quarter inch to an inch at a total in each singular event. Plus, we didn't see the same precipitation over the same areas on a daily basis, so at least we were spreading the precipitation around. And then we had a fairly significant complex come through the state Wednesday night into Thursday morning that gave us a widespread 1 to 2 inch precipitation reports across central and western Nebraska. And as the system moved toward the southeast, it started to fade out, so precipitation totals dropped off into the half to 1 inch range as we got into the eastern one-third of the state. But most of northeastern Nebraska, or at least extreme northeastern Nebraska, missed out on the heavy precipitation event. Now, as we go through this next 7-day period, there's increasing signs by the models that we're going to see some very warm temperatures building into the region, possibly even making it to the 100-degree mark. And the precipitation tendencies look like they're going to drop off significantly, particularly across the southern half of the state, where we will see the chances of precipitation will remain to the extreme northern part of the state as most of the complexes move through the Dakotas. So let's take a look at the upper air model and see what we can expect. We have the zonal flow in place, so systems are going to move from a west to east fashion toward the Great Lakes. This is the remnants of Bill that will move off the eastern seaboard over the next 24 hours and be a non-event to the eastern United States. And for us, we're looking at the zonal flow continuing into tomorrow with another piece of wave moving across the Dakotas that may clip northeastern Nebraska, but the heaviest of precipitation should remain well to our north. You'll notice this ridge starting to build in, bringing the warmer temperatures to the southern plains, and that will make it to Nebraska here on Monday as that ridge starts to expand in both to the east and to the north. So that'll bring mid-90-degree temperatures into southern Nebraska with a possibility of upper 90s across southwest Nebraska. Once again, another complex of storms moves across the Dakotas, may clip extreme northern Nebraska, but it'll be very isolated in nature. As we get into Tuesday, that high pressure system builds a little bit farther north, so we're bringing mid-90-degree temperatures almost up into northern Nebraska with isolated 100-degree readings possible across south central and southwest Nebraska. On Wednesday, that ridge starts to push a little bit farther to the east. We'll have a southwest flow, so we will still see some very warm temperatures across portions of south central, southeast Nebraska with upper 90s. And we'll see this wave trying to push through the Dakotas that may push in us a little bit cooler air into the northwestern panhandle, but again, precipitation remains to the north of us. As we get into Thursday, we start to see this system sagging toward the south, increasing the precipitation probabilities across northern Nebraska, and they're also developing a complex in western Nebraska that will move through the state during the overnight hours. And as we get into Friday, that system will exit out the southeast, so we're looking at some fairly decent moisture. As we look at the temperature forecast, you can see very warm conditions with just isolated thunderstorms mainly to the north, and then we'll see temperatures cool down toward the end of the week. 8 to 14-day forecast indicates that trough will remain in place, so we'll see cooler than normal conditions, and unfortunately we will also see an increase in moisture as we get into next weekend.